will be feeling alone, isolated.
Because it doesn't feel like anyone currently has been able to validate her experiences.
I think that's a really key thing, just understanding what women are going through and validating that their experience is actually happening.
At first, she probably didn't even realise she was a victim.
She'll be self-blaming. Maybe she can change, or maybe all this is her fault. She'll have no hope. She'll feel threatened. She's already been blamed for being a bad wife. There'll be mental issues.
She'll be feeling anxious and depressed, and all that can be helped slightly if people understood what she was going through.
She won't know who to trust, where to go.
She's probably been in a very difficult situation, but not being able to get out because of the fear of not getting any support.
Fear of being disowned not only by her husband's family, potentially her own family, but also the community as well.
Fear of disclosure and the consequences to that. Within domestic abuse and honour-based violence, the word consequence is key. What are the consequences for someone if they disclose or act in ways that the family think potentially brings shame or dishonour on them?
As her sister has recently been married, the aspect of honour will be on her shoulders to ensure that all that is maintained.
So she will internalise that actually her leaving that situation was her own fault, and she's put her children through that also.
She must have been feeling very scared on her own.
She'll constantly be in pain.
She's trying to put her kids first and thinking, I've got to make this work for the children.
Family that she's left behind, their father, the grandmother, etc., her in-laws, they will be wanting contact with the children, their grandchildren. So she's got to manage that contact alongside everything else that she's trying to manage.
Low self-esteem, low confidence, feels like she's got a lack of independence.
Her immigration status will be an issue. She will be worried if she takes any action, she's likely to be sent back to her country of origin and face further abuse.
And she wished she'd done it earlier. So there's many women like that out there who this could be an inspiration for and a hope for, that they don't stay in those relationships, to come out of them earlier rather than leaving it later. But everybody has their own time scale.
They might not identify that they've been in an abusive relationship, and once they leave, they may blame themselves. So any woman would need some space and time to process what's happened and identify what's happened.
Even though she may have left and she's got out of one set of issues, she'll now face a new set of issues.
When you're in an abusive relationship, the perpetrators take away your independence, or they create fear within you. For example, they'll say social services will take the kids away, or you can't do anything, you're worthless. So you internalise that your feelings aren't validated, your experience may not be real, it may just be in your head.
She shared her experience with this group, and that makes a bond grow between her and those women as well, and thus creating a support network for herself and making new friends and reducing that isolation.
3 basic things that she will need moving forward is language, to learn the language.
Who's going to speak her language, and where does she go to get the support?
In society, surviving without speaking fluent English or any English can be difficult for her.
She needs language support. She needs to be going to the ESOL classes. She will need the visa and the redress to public funds sorted out, her benefits, etc.
Financial challenges. I know she's, they're going to help her with the property and all that, but still it's hard.
And then it's moving forward, restarting a home and the resources that she'll need to do that. And then it's that thing about learning how to manage her for money, budgeting, etc.
The other challenges she'll have is she'll lose all her connections, community and the family.
Stereotype that is attached to divorced women.
Community pressure to reconcile and to try and maintain the relationship and the honour of the family. Honour-based violence basically means it's a set of rules of how you live your life within that family. And if you take any action against those rules, you are dishonouring.
Certainly with honour-based violence under the bracket of honour, but we call that so-called honour because there is no honour in abusing someone.
This is also a cultural act. It's got nothing to do with UK law and it has nothing to do with Islam.
What we do know is that anybody who leaves an abusive situation, the risk actually goes up, and any safety plans that have been done with a victim survivor need to be revisited because the risks are going to be completely different now. Domestic abuse isn't static, it's dynamic. It becomes more dynamic and dangerous once somebody has left. So actually the risk of homicide goes up around about 70% on leaving. So we need to consider how we support people with all the tools in our armoury from every agency once they have exited an abusive situation.
Creating a safe space where they can share and disclose an inclusive environment, but it's working with them at their pace, not at our pace, not at the pace that the police normally work at or children's services or adult services. It's like giving them the information that they can make their own informed choices.
Services and people around her really need to validate her feelings and empower her and see what kind of things that she wants to do, and give her the independence back in making choices for her own life.
Women's organisations where women can freely talk about these issues in a safe space. Victims of domestic abuse need that. They need that security.
The Bangladeshi, Pakistani communities, they are very reserved. They don't like to speak about the experience. Coffee mornings are very relaxed. Ask them what their needs are. If they need support, refer them to the right organisation.
Wherever the women are rehoused to, it's important to help them build a social network around them, an informal social network where they can just talk about general everyday things and start feeling normal again.
Accessing, community groups and community members of the community as well. If, a lot of them do have the knowledge of where to signpost, housing, it could be anything that she needs. There's lots of services, but often victims of domestic abuse, because they've been so isolated, they don't know what services are out there.
It's very scary. The ladies do not trust the police. They feel like the social services will get involved. We get the guest speakers in from the Crown Prosecution or the police, get them to come in and slowly, listen to what they have to say and build that trust with them.
Counselling and getting the right support for the children, because the children must have witnessed stuff.
Raising awareness within the community around honour-based violence is really dangerous. Nobody's done it yet. The reasons they haven't done it is the fear of the repercussions.
I think it's very, very key for schools from a young age to educate young girls and young boys around domestic abuse and domestic violence.
There's a big difference between culture and religion. What is culture and what Islam says and what UK law says, because there's very little information out there on the difference of both.
So the person-centred approach, as mentioned before, is paramount, needs to be client-led, and we need to not overwhelm somebody initially with choices. They need time to take a breath once they're in that place of safety.